The fence that surrounds the garden is electrified, and it's turned on at night at a very low voltage. Okay, basically because we have a lot of deer on the property, and we're just saying to them, no, you cannot eat here, go elsewhere. Off on our left is our newest project. It's called the Rice Science Center, and it's all about life, because we would not survive or live without plants. Okay? And so the center of the garden, of the building, the roof is all solar panels, and on either side will be roof gardens. Inside, okay, will be open, and on either side will be all kind of laboratories where we will have scientists, PhD people, and they'll be looking at plants, endangered species, new variety of plants. They'll be looking at plants that can be used for medicinal purposes. So there's a lot going to be going on. Hopefully we're going to have that completed by September, the end of September. And that's a $50 million project that's going on. Off on our right, why, this will be the All-American Rose Evaluation Garden. There are 20 gardens throughout the United States that test roses. We're one. Disney World is another. How do you like that new cologne I'm wearing? Ah, that's called the new compost. Anyway, these are tested for 3 years for their color, their fragrance, and their hardiness. And at the end of the time period, one is selected as the All-American Rose. And if you'd like to see the winners, they're up by our rose garden, right next to the Regenstein building. Now, a lot of people say, that's nice, so what? Well, if you're a rose aficionado, you developed a special breed of rose, your rose wins, you won the lottery. Every rose grower in the world wants it. Every nursery wants it. And you have the patent on it. On our left, these are all echinacea, cone flowers. And we've been testing them for different colors and sizes and so on. Behind the fence is our nursery, and that's off limits to the public. Off on our left, this is the children's garden. And this is where we have Camp Chicago Botanic Garden. And that's where they learn all about flowers and veggies and bugs. Okay? We have arts and craft, and every once in a while we'll have a birthday party there. I'm going to make a stop here, and if anybody would like to get off and explore the area, you're more than welcome, and the next tram that comes by would pick you up. So, anybody want to get off? No? Now, the garden opened to the public in 1972, and this garden on our left was the Chicago Botanic Garden. We certainly have grown considerably at that time. And behind the fence we have plants from all over the world. And what we try to do is see how they can acclimate themselves to the Midwest. And some of them do quite well, and some of them don't quite make it. But that's part of the testing program. The buildings on our left are the plant production area. And this is where everything gets started from seed. And after it gets started here, it goes to the nursery, from the nursery to the garden. And we produce about 400,000 plants. And that seems like an awful lot, and it is. But we need about 2 million a year. So we have to go to outside vendors for the rest of our needs. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go over this very narrow bridge on our right. I'm going to ask everybody to please make sure all your arms and legs are inside the tram, because it's that tight. Okay, here we go. And I hope I don't embarrass myself. The other day I missed, and that last car went in the water. Oh my gosh, no! No. This is really a dam that we're going over. On our right is one of our lakes, and the left is the Skokie Lagoon, really the north branch of the Chicago River. And it brings us into the prairie demonstration area. And this is known as the mesic, or the tall grass prairie. And yes, the grasses and forbs are quite tall now, and by the end of this month they should be about another 6 inches or 10 inches higher even. Right? And this also is a natural habitat, but unlike the woods, we created this one. I'd like you to take a look off here on our right. Can you imagine this would have gone on for miles and miles? How difficult it must have been for the pioneers. Why, an adult would have a difficult time walking through there. A child could get lost very easily. And you also got to keep in mind, we also have beautiful butterflies and birds, but we also have bees and chickens and ticks. So it wasn't fun. The prairies really are like a living museum, because each week they change color. Now we're looking at a lot of white and a lot of yellow. A couple of weeks ago it was all red and blue. So it's really very pretty. These tall plants with the yellow flowers are called compass plants. And what's interesting about them is that they turn away from the sun so they don't get burned up. Now the roots of the plants go down about 6 feet, 8 feet, so they keep coming back year after year. Okay? And it's also really good. On our right, that mound is an example of a gravel hill prairie, and the gravel hill prairies were formed when the glaciers receded. So as a result, they're really very porous. And you get small grasses on the top, tall ones around the bottom. And next to a gravel hill prairie will always be cold running water. Just going to pull off on the side here for a moment. There's another tram behind me, and he's got to get moving quicker. Okay, Terry. Yeah. This area was inhabited by the Potawatomi Indians, and they were great environmentalists even before we knew the word. What they would do, they would have difficulty hunting when the grasses were this high. So in the fall of the year, they would take part of the prairie and burn it. Okay, and then in the spring of the year, young tender shoots would come up, and that would attract a lot of the animals. They then would do their hunting then, and so they were pretty smart. At the beginning or the end of every prairie is what is known as a savanna. And in the savanna, the only trees that grow are bur oaks. We're passing them. And they survive the prairie fires because the bark is a very thick, corky bark and retains a great deal of moisture. So it'll scorch, but they won't burn. This coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we'll have kite flying programs here.